Close your eyes for a minute. Listener, close your eyes. I want to do a little exercise for you. Okay? Picture boomers. Picture boomers out golfing, cruising, chilling down at the villages, living the good life, telling everybody to work harder. Okay? Picture them.
Mm-hmm.
All right? They're all collecting Social Security. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's paying for that Social Security?
Me.
And did you know, now at the end of the year, you file your taxes and you see a total number and you say, that's how much of federal income tax I paid.
Mm-hmm.
That's not all of it. 7.5% of every dollar you make, up to, I think an income is now 150 or 180K, right? But for the working man, effectively, 7.5% of every dollar you make is going to those boomers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's funding their lifestyle, okay? Not only that, your employer matches that 7.5%. So that's payroll cost, all right? So you say, well, I'm not making enough money. If you didn't have Social Security to pay for it, that's 15% more of your top. So if you make if you make 50 grand a year, right? That's $7,500. I'm sorry. Yeah, $7,500 a year. That's it's almost $600 a month.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you make 50 grand, that's $600 a month of your labor that's going down there. Because if the employer didn't have to pay that 7.5%, that's more money they could pay you.
Mm-hmm.
That's socialism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's free stuff. Somebody is always paying for it, and it's always going to be the working man. That's just the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may get away with some smaller things, but I mean, the federal deficit, what is it now? I mean, we're spending $1 trillion more than the federal government's taken in, and you want to increase the spending? So, I mean, why don't we fix that first?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that's the reality of it. Is it's tempting as it is to want to vote for that. I mean, the best case scenario is they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, because Social Security is never going away.
No.
All right, it's built into the law that it will automatically reduce the benefit when it can no longer fund it. But I was told in the 1980s that there will not be Social Security is going bankrupt. It will not be there for you. That's what we were taught when we got our jobs in the 80s. It's still there. Okay? It's not going anywhere. I mean, once you give these entitlements out, they're very, very, very difficult to impossible to take away. So if the government decides to set up universal health care, and you find out you don't like it, if you find out I don't like the health care I'm getting, I liked it better before, it's not saving me any money, if you realize all that, it doesn't matter. You can never undo it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never undo that. And Social Security is not going away. So that's the reality of these huge entitlement programs. How's that feel?
Oh, no, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Like, if you want a really quick, big fix into our economic issues, you want to have more money and all that, there needs to be a heavy reformation of all these different social welfare entitlement programs, like Social Security, like Medicare, like Medicaid, food stamps. Not like, I'm not advocating to get rid of them completely because there's been a developed dependency on it, but and I think that's one of the things that Trump is doing very well this time around. He's not making the political suicide move of just getting rid of it. Mm-hmm. But what he's doing is he's taking it, basically auditing the piss out of it.
Well, Republican, I'm sorry, good, fraud. So fraud,
Because, we just saw with all the different stuff, and social media has been great for this. A lot of these different issues are tying in. Look at the whole illegal immigration issue. When all these illegal immigrants came over and through Biden's open border, not only did they be able to come in here and just stay here, but they have been literally sucking the tit of the American welfare system, where I know people, good people, who have it difficult, who do have a dependency on stuff like food stamps, for example, because of their situations, depending on what they are. But they are ones I would say that truthfully need it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got some illegal immigrant from insert whatever country coming in here, and they're getting free housing. They're getting tens of thousands of dollars worth of food stamps, which blows my mind.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know how widespread those big numbers are. I don't think they get welfare, but your point well taken. I mean, they are the beneficiaries of programs. I mean, New York had laws in place that said immigrants something to do with immigrants. They had to provide housing for immigrants. So they had homeless people living on the street, but then they're paying for housing for immigrants. These, and they're even if they're illegal.
here's my hot take. You want housing for illegal immigrants? Literally send them back home.
If you recall, Mayor Adams was speaking out against it. He was saying, hey, this is going to end New York as we know. We got to do something. And, he said, I'm the guy, I don't agree with it, but that's the law. He had to do it because that was the written law. He was, asking for them to change the laws. Well, they voted him out.
Yeah.
So...
It's just one of those things where...
So what's the hope for people? I mean, I think the fraud is a good thing, that I think the Republicans are using to say, hey, the Democrats want to demonize the billionaires, and the Republicans are saying we've got all these, illegal immigrants. They're not even Americans or whatever they are, and they're defrauding our government, taking away benefits that you should have. So I guess there's something there.
The big struggle, I think, is these certain things that we want to find solutions for are really rooted in the sense of we cannot find a middle ground between our elected officials on either side of the aisle. Everybody's on one. Like, not very seldomly do you have someone that wants to meet in the middle.
Right.
We have to find, like, okay, here's the overcompassing issues. Here's the various problems on each side. What can we take from each side, come together, and be like, this is going to be our bipartisan solution. We need, and this is a type of thing where the solution is not one party's way of doing things over the other. We need to come to a compromise, and that's the problem we're having. And we're honestly, what's killing that whole prospect for everybody is the continued polarization. Go back to what we talked about previously with the media. We're polarizing ourselves within the media, this, that, and the other, that we're losing sight on. We're here and here. We need to be here in order to solve these issues.
Do you want an example?
Please.
Bill Clinton won the election in 1992, and he had a Democrat House and a Democrat Senate. Bill Clinton wanted to reform welfare. He couched it, rightly so, as a economic, fiscal issue, but also as primarily a compassion issue. That, the welfare system would, like, for example, rewarded, it punished marriage, basically, right? So if a woman had a child, the more kids she had, the more money she got. If a man entered the picture who could earn, that would threaten the benefits, reduce or threaten the benefits. So they created this whole, system of, and people, when they had their kids, they would teach them how to, use the welfare system. So it created, and the other thing it did is if, you have a fixed income on, say, a welfare, you can't own anything, because if you own it, the government's going to put a lien on it. You can't buy a house or anything like that because the government's going to take it. If you get a job, let's say you get an entry-level job and you want to start a career path. If you get a job making, $500 a month, that's going to offset your welfare benefit. At some point, you'll lose it. So you're working for nothing. So it became a trap. And he was talking about, he presented it to the people on welfare as, we're going to help you. We're going to liberate you. We're going to, give you, dignity and the things that only Republicans talk about now, the dignity of work and, upward mobility, pride and, things like that, accomplishment, not to be trapped. The Democrat Congress opposed him on it. I mean, he couldn't get it done. They did not want to do it. Okay, they was like, we can't take people's entitlements away. Well, the Republicans with Newt Gingrich, there was a landslide midterm victory. Republicans took control. I don't know if they took control of the Senate, but definitely the House. So Clinton worked with the Republicans to do welfare reform. They put think of these things, work requirements, okay, time limits. If you're going to be on welfare, you're time limited now. You can't collect, for your entire life. You have to go to work. So all these kinds of things that you've heard talked about for unemployment and such, that's what they put into this. Now, the Republicans proposed a couple of bills that he thought was too harsh. He wanted like safety nets. He wanted to make it protect. He didn't want basically to kick everybody out in the street all at once. So he wanted to make sure single mothers had. So they tracked it. They called them leavers, people who left the welfare system and went to work, and stayers. So some of the stayers might be, let's say you're a woman and you have 6 kids, young kids, and you just can't go to work. So she would have stayed on the welfare system. The leavers far outperformed the stayers in terms of economic growth, upward mobility. So it was a tremendous success, and it was a Democrat president who was not afraid to acknowledge the problem, even though it was unpopular within his party, to take away these entitlements. Then when the Republicans took control of the House, that's when they were able to get it done. And it's I don't think anyone looks back on it now as anything but a major success.
I mean, I don't know exactly what way they honestly don't even talk about it. And if anything, what they will talk about with Bill Clinton is his questionable under the desk antics.
Yeah.
So they took away something that he did that was actually good based off of that because.
Well, he was supposed to. They were going to usher in universal health care too. He gave that to Hillary. Yeah, he gave it to it's like, this is some major thing. Why would you give it to the first lady? But I remember soon after he took office, holding up the card and go, pretty soon every American's going to have one of these cards. And this card is going to guarantee you hospital and doctors and everything. I don't know. I didn't follow it. I was young, so I don't know what happened, but nothing happened really. So it didn't turn out. But again, after the midterms, he shifted back over to welfare reform.
So that's just a great example of, hey, you can work across party lines and get a job done. It's just a matter of what is that middle ground going to look like?
Right.
But the problem is everybody's so polarized to each other end, and they're so focused on hey, I don't like you because I think you're an asshole.
Yeah.
And you look like a Nazi, and you are a Nazi, and you're a Messiah. It's all, people want to just sit there and just personally attack people rather than come to an actual solution. And I think that's one of the big things that is hindering our ability to solve all these problems. We could fix the housing crisis. We could resolve a lot of these issues with workers not being properly compensated or treated fairly and this, that, and the other. But what's going to be done? Until you can just put your selfish bullshit aside and sit down and be like, okay, here's the goal we need to achieve as a team. What's going to get us there?
Well, it's the victim villain political dynamic just out of control.